We saw last time how to generate SCADA tags from ladder logic. Today we'll generate ladder logic from tags. I have here a simple PLC project without any code in it. I have a compact logics processor and 3 digital input cards. The first thing I typically do is add a rung to map the digital inputs to internal variables. So I'd select the digital input and the internal variable. And I'd have to go through this for the other 15 inputs on card 1, 16 inputs on card 2, and 16 inputs on card 3. So let's have a look at how to approach this using scripting. So the first thing I'd do is I would, over here, I'd generate a table with the input on the left-hand side and the output on the right-hand side. Then I'd typically break this up so that I could use Excel's automatic increment. So I'll just place the data here, the string data that is, and then drag this down until I get 15 more rows. Just fill in data. Do the same with the inputs. Okay, and then what I can do is combine these back together. Is equal to column A. Oh. Is equal to column A and column B. Fill this down. I can get rid of these first 2 columns. All right, undo that. Now I forgot to copy and paste just the values. Paste values only. There we go. Now I can delete the first 2 columns. Okay, so here's our first input card taken care of. So I'll do the same thing for input card number 2. So I'll just do a search and find and replace. So here I want to replace this 1 denoting what the first input card with a 2. It's made 16 replacements, great. And then over here I want to replace underscore 01 with underscore 02. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing for the third input card. Okay, this time we're going to replace 2 with 3. I made 32 replacements, so I'll just undo that. Sometimes it automatically unselects this current selection only, so I'll just do replace all again. This time it made 16 replacements. Now I want to replace the 2 with the 3. "16 replacements," excellent. All right, so now we have a file with the inputs and the outputs mapped. So the first thing I do is save this as a CSV. The next thing I'll do is I'll export this routine so that I can inspect the XML that I need to copy. So here we have the exported XML file, and if we scroll down, we'll see how the rungs are formatted. So here we have a rung, it has a number, a type, and some text associated. So what we're going to do is map each of the entries in our CSV file into a string of this format. The first step is to create an Elixir script file. I'm going to call it input card mapping logic. Input card mapping logic.exs. Just like last time, the first thing I'll do is open the file. Using the file read function. The file here is input card mapping dot CSV, and I will print the result to the screen. Spelled inspect wrong. Okay, that looks better. So the first thing we'll do with this data is we'll split the output up on a new line. So we'll use string split, and we'll split it on a new line character. We'll run that and have a look at our output. So we seem to have each line, but we've also got this empty string at the end. So what we'll do is we'll filter that out. So we're going to pipe the result into enum.filter, and to filter we pass in a function, and we want to say reject anything that has a string.length is equal to 0. Let's run that and check the result. There we go. Now I've just got the data we want. So the next step is we'll map over that data. So using enum.map, pass in a function x, and what we want to do with each value in the list is we want to split it. So using string.split, and we want to split it on the commas. Let's check the result there. Okay, good. So now we have a series of arrays. We've got an array of arrays, so each of these values we'll use pattern matching, so we'll copy that. And we know the result here is equal to this, and we'll call this the input, and this the output. And then what we want to do is use that input and output to populate that string we saw earlier. So what we'll do is find that again. So we essentially want to create a string similar to this one. So I'll copy this and I will paste it in here. Okay, so what we have to do is put it in quotation marks. And so the first thing we'll do is get rid of this number property. Now this, the string thinks it's ending at this end. So what I'll do is use a backslash to escape that, and a backslash there. So now Elixir is recognizing this as a full string. But what we want to do is, instead of this value here, we want to put our input in there. And instead of this value, we want to put our output in there. Okay, so if we save that, and I believe we have to have this all on the same line. So I'll just condense it down a little bit. Okay, we'll try and run that. Okay, that looks promising. So what we'll do is we will write this to a file. So what we'll do is we'll bind it to the variable rungs. And then down here we will do file write. We'll call it input card mapping dot text. Print the rungs. All right, input card mapping text. Okay, so what we'll do is select that. Actually, it looks funny having it all on one line. What I might do is add a new line character in, and that way it should format it a little nicer. Okay, that looks a little better. Just select all the text and copy it, and then go back into this input mapping routine, and I will replace this rung, my new rungs, and save that. And then in the ladder logic program, I will import it. So we'll import routine, select to import, and then it says it's going to override the existing routine. And there you have it. Pretty straightforward, but that does our mapping logic, our input mapping logic, which is much easier and less error prone than manually doing it in this ladder logic editor. Now, last time I mentioned I would contrast doing it with Elixir, contrast that to doing it in Excel. So here we have LibreOffice Calc, but what you can do is we can attempt to do the same thing. Now, if we look at the code, what we essentially need to do is just create many copies of this same string. So we can copy this string here, and we can do the same thing in Excel. So I'll paste the string in, and here at the start of the string we can have an equal sign. Now we get an error if you just hit enter, because Excel doesn't like backslashes for escaping, so what you have to do is double quotation marks. And also, rather than having this string interpolation happening like that, we have to instead close off the quotation marks, use ampersand, and insert the cell. Ampersands again, and we select our output. We have a look at these. There we go. So that's pretty simple. And what you can do is just copy it straight from there. If we go back into our ladder logic routine, we can undo what I just pasted in. So I just Control Z to undo, it might be easier. Okay, and we can just paste this content in from Excel. Oh, didn't do anything. I was trying to paste a single line. Let me just try that again. Copy from there. There we go. It's looking better. Save that, do its automatic formatting. This new line character. May cause trouble. So what I'll do is I'll remove the new line character. Regenerate these, copy them, and just undo the changes here, and I'll paste them in. We have a few too many, so I'll undo again. There we are, now I'll paste in. Okay, I'll save that. And I will import it back into RSLogix. And there you have it. So both methods work. In this case, I'd say Excel's probably easier and quicker for a small script like this. The downside to Excel is it's hard to understand someone else's spreadsheet. And I could go in And as I did earlier, I could copy and paste values only, and you don't see how parts of it are generated or what order you have to do certain steps to cleanse data and things like that. So I think Excel is great to do, is great for your own code generation for simple cases like this. But if you're working as part of a team or are looking to document how you're modifying the code, you're probably better off using a scripting language. I hope you've enjoyed these 2 videos on scripting for control systems engineers. Next time I'm probably going to do something a little more ambitious and attempt to convert the ladder logic code into Elixir code so that it can actually be executed. Until next time, take care.